What's good, guys? It's your main man James here, and today I'm going to be showing you a really great method to have a side hustle or even make it your main source of income. And this is a hot method, it's an amazing method, and it's about how you can make money from APIs. So, this is going to be a full tutorial. I'm going to show you everything from A to Z how to do it. It's a very simple method. In fact, you're going to be amazed how simple this method is and how easy it is to make money with this really, truly underground method. So, first of all, what is an API? Okay, if you Google for an API, you're going to see an API is an application programming interface. An application programming interface is a connection between computers or between computer programs. So essentially what it is that it allows you to expose data, and that data can be consumed by someone else or something else. As is the case that we're talking about here, this is going to be another application. And this is awesome because there's a lot of people building applications. There's a lot of money to be made with applications. And if you can provide the service that this application can consume and do something with, and you can charge them for the service, the developer for the service, you can potentially make a ton of money. So if we go to this website called rapidapi.com, you will see that there's a whole market around APIs, a whole market that you may have never even heard about. So this is the next generation API platform. Find, connect, and manage thousands of APIs, okay? So you can sign up. It's a 100% free account. I'm going to log into my account, and we're going to take a look together exactly what this market is. And then I'm going to show you from A to Z, step by step, how you can build your own API and sell it on this platform so that others can pay you per request or per month or however you choose. So I'm going to go in and log in right now. All right, so I am logged in right now. There's a lot of things you're looking at, and let me just kind of explain what's happening. There's all these categories, and what they are essentially is categories of different APIs. So for instance, let's say I'm building an app and somebody hired me to build an app, or I want to display some data. I can get flight data APIs, free SMS, top translation API, city data API, so many things that I can get. Stock market and brokerage APIs, top hotel APIs. I can build an app in half an hour because I have all of the access to all of this data that I can create an app and I can easily consume. So I don't need to go out and, proxy, image recognition APIs. All of this is available. So for instance, let's say I need city data. So I'm going to click on this and I can kind of learn more about the API. So this is just the category, right? There's IP geolocation. API returns location data such as country, city, latitude, longitude. GeoDB cities. Get global city, region, country data. Filter and display results in multiple languages, okay? Boundaries. I can get zip code boundaries, right? I can actually get map boundaries, which is cool. Country, cities. And below each of these APIs, you are seeing the various stats. So for instance, let's say we go into this GeoDB cities, updated 2 months ago. It's a freemium plan. It's verified, and the popularity is 9.9 out of 10, which means it's very popular. It's a very good API. Latency is 229 milliseconds. Do not worry about it too much. Mostly just look at the popularity and the service level. Okay, service level 100%. That means it's pretty much working all the time, and you can kind of learn about it. You can click on About, and you can learn about it. And this is the person that created this API. Okay, this is Michael Mowgli. He is the creator of this API, and you can kind of rate it. You can read about it. Filter cities by name, prefix, get city details, including GPS location, time zone. So it's great. Like if you want to get a list of cities, if you want to get some data about the cities, there's some tutorials about it, discussions, and last but not least, we have pricing. Okay, and so this is the pricing, right? For a free plan, we can only have 1,000 requests per day. It's a hard limit, which means that we cannot, if we go over this, we cannot pay extra. We have to go to another plan, okay? And so under this plan, we have, these are the options we have. We have paging limits, etc., location radius, 1 request per second. Then we have 2 more plans, $10 a month, $25 a month. This allows you 200,000 requests per day, and then you can pay extra without needing to go to the next plan. This is what it meant by the hard limit. With a hard limit, you can't go to the next plan. You have to go to the next plan. You can't, add an extra request. Here, you can just add more requests and stay within this plan. So it's a lot more flexible. And so if I subscribe here, I just subscribe to the free plan. Now I can go to something called the endpoints, and I can start playing with it. I can actually issue requests. So let me do that real quick just to show you how it works. And once we're done, I'm going to show you how you can build your own API. And you may be thinking like, James, this is complicated. I'm not a developer. You have no idea how simple this is. You don't need to be a developer. You don't need to be anything. On the left-hand side, we have all the requests. So let's say I want cities. And all of these are like requests. Location, all of these are optional, right? So if I do not, if I don't send any data, I'm just going to get a list of cities. So if we hit test endpoint, I should get some data here, and I do have data. 200 OK means that we are not getting any errors, that everything is OK, and we're having a list of cities here. So there's a city Andorra, that's the first city. We have Andorra, another city we have, all of these. So we're essentially getting cities in Andorra because that's one of the, the first country, because it starts with an A, that they're getting. We can get only cities near this location. So we can have latitude, longitude. We can specify limit. We have only cities in these countries. So let's say we want Italy. We're going to say IT, and we're going to test endpoint. And we're going to say, and now we're getting just Italy, right? So if we go to this, we open this up, we have Italy. We're having, a bunch of cities just in Italy. I can do the same thing, ES. ES stands for España or Spain. Test endpoint, and now we're getting Spain. You can see that. And so that was like 3 requests, I believe, and we are allowed 1,000 requests per day. So this is perfect for testing. This is perfect for playing around. So that is how you play with different APIs, okay? Now let me show you how you can create an API, okay? The first thing you need to do is you need to have this data. Okay, you need to get some kind of data that you're going to be exposing. Now, obviously, this is going to depend on, what kind of API you want to expose. But let's say we're working with something very simple. And I'm going to show you ideas for data that you had no idea is possible. So for instance, let's say we want world's largest cities, okay? So I have a list here. Before I have a list, I'm going to create a quick Google Sheet here, okay? I'm going to have a new tab. And I'm going to go into my Google Sheets, and we're going to create a brand new spreadsheet. This is going to be important because it's going to allow us to create an API. So I have here world's biggest cities. I could just put biggest cities, okay? And so what I have here is a list. So if I click on this list, I have a list of, world's biggest cities. Now, what is this going to be? How many cities? It's not going to be, 200 or a million cities. It's just going to be like, I think 10 cities. So very, very quick list. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to use a plugin called Scrape Similar just to scrape this list. And now I have 10 cities actually. So I'm going to copy this. I'm going to go into my Google Sheets here, and I'm going to paste it. So this is going to be name, and I'm going to delete this right here. Another thing I want to do is I want to delete just this right here. I just want the city. Okay, so I'm going to delete it just really quickly. I'm going to clean it up. All right, so I just cleaned it up. And what I have here is one column with a list of cities. That's fine for this example. Now, what we want to do is we want to go into File, and we want to download this as a CSV right here, comma separated values. I'm going to hit that. Once I do that, this file has been saved. It's called Biggest Cities Sheet 1. It's already saved. Doesn't really matter what it's called or anything like that. The next thing you guys want to do is you want to go to this website called retool.com/utilities. This is a great site. There's lots of interesting utilities that are free that you can use. And one of these utilities allows you to generate an API from CSV. You're going to open that up. Once you open, we have a data source, and you can even use a public data set, which I'm going to show you in a second. But right now, we're going to use that data set that we just created. So it says drag and drop your file here. I'm going to do that in a second. So here I am dragging this file. So I just dragged this file here and it uploaded. I'm going to hit next. And there you have it, name. And we don't even have a column. So we can even remove this column, and now we just have the name. We can rename this. So it could be city name, custom data type, You can, you can have a custom data type if you want. We're not going to have a custom data. Now we just have a simple spreadsheet. We're going to hit next. And now we're going to say this is going to be, so it says here API name, where I'm just going to put that city. And I'm going to say, actually, I'm going to say cities. And I'm going to hit generate API. And that's it. I just created an API. And so now I have a fully generated API. Okay, this is the endpoint. And I'm going to explain to you in a second what that means. And we have a bunch of requests, things that we can do with it, things that we can expose. All of this we can expose to people. Now, the thing is, now we have an API, it's working, but we cannot sell it yet. We need a platform, some kind of a marketplace where we can sell that API. And this is exactly what Rapid API is. So we're going to go there in a second. But before we do that, I want to show you. So if we open this right here, this gives us a list of our cities. So we have Tokyo, Delhi, Shanghai, Sao Paulo, Mexico City, etc. These are the world's biggest cities. We also have an ID, city ID. So this allows us to get all the cities. This right here is the filter. So I can specify a filter. So right now, name value, we can say name Delhi. Okay, I can do something like this. And we just get Delhi. Or, Tokyo. Tokyo I want name, just Tokyo. And I just get Tokyo, right? It's a filter in cases where the application needs to get a specific city. Here we can get cities by an ID. This is very useful to applications. I can say city, give me the 5th ID, where the ID, that's Mexico City. Give me the 6th one, right? And then we also have, we can paginate it. So we can get, if we have a lot of cities, we can just get, page 3. And, I can also specify that the limit is 10. That means it's going to give us, instead of 0 to 10, 10 to 20, it's going to give us, 20 to 29 or 20 to 30. And then we have post. This allows us to essentially create more cities. We can create an additional cities patch. We can edit it. Delete. We can delete the city. So all of this allows us to actually manipulate this API. And this API. Now the next thing we need to do is we need to go back to this Rapid API. Okay, and we're gonna hit this My APIs right here, and we're gonna create our own API and we're gonna sell it. Okay, we're going to sell it on the marketplace, okay? We're going to hit add new API here, and we're going to call this biggest cities. A list of world's biggest cities, okay? Category, let's see, what is our category going to be? It is, I'm always terrible when it comes to these categories. Let's say it's going to be travel. Okay, perfect. And so specify using UI, open all of this. We're just going to say UI. We're going to hit add API. And now we can actually add it. So we can add an image here. And now we need to add something called the base URL. So if we go back to this tool right here, we have our endpoint URL. This is our base URL. We're going to copy that. And we're going to paste it. We're going to save. So this is an image here. You can add an image later. I'm going to hit save. And I'm going to add an endpoint now. Okay? We're going to go into settings. And I'm going to hit configure. Add base URL. Okay, this is the base URL. This is where everything starts. I'm going to hit save. Now it added it. Authentication is going to be the default value. We don't really need anything there. Now we just need to add the endpoint. So what is an endpoint? An endpoint is essentially an option. Things that we can do with an API. We have a list, we have a filter, we can get by ID. We can only have a list potentially, right? But in this case, it gives us more flexibility because there's more things that we can do. If we only had get a list of cities, it's going to be challenging for the user because essentially they need to code all this stuff. But in this case, they don't need to code anything. So I can just copy it. I can just copy it right here. And I can add it, right? So I'm going to say create REST endpoint here. And I'm going to say get all cities. Okay, description, get all cities. And this is going to be right here. We're going to delete the domain. We don't need that. And this is kind of what we have. And that is it. Now we added one endpoint. Now we can actually test it, right? So if I do that, I hit this, I'm gonna get result. And so I just click test endpoint in order to test it to see if we're getting results. And we are getting results. Look at this. We are essentially getting a list of our cities. We are going now through this rapid API, right? We're testing it and we're getting 200 response. Okay, and this is the list of our cities. Now we want to add a couple of more endpoints. Okay, so I'm gonna hit save. And so we're gonna add another endpoint, and this is gonna be get by ID. So I'm gonna copy this by ID. We're going to go in here, we're going to paste it, we're going to remove the domain name. And this ID, we're going to specify it like this. We're going to say this is an ID, and that way they can specify. So once we do that, we have a parameter, ID. Now, this is a required parameter because otherwise, if you do not specify an ID, it's not going to work. This is going to be a string. You can specify an example value just for testing purposes, right? So let's say actually this is going to be a number right here. And so let's say the number is 1. I can actually save to test endpoint. Okay, I just saved it. And so now we have 2 endpoints. We have get all cities and get cities by filter. And as you can see, this is our biggest cities API. And so once we have all the endpoint from whichever place we created all of these APIs here, as the case is using this retool utility, the next thing we need to do is we need to make our API public. Okay, so we can go in here. Now, once we created all the endpoints and we created an image and the base URL and everything I talked about, we can actually go into plans and pricing and actually specify how much we want to charge the person. So there's the public plans, private plans. Public plans, once published, are visible in the hub, and then you have private plans. Okay, you can create a private plan. So let's say we have the free plan, right? This is the free plan right here. We have a rate limit, maximum, let's say, no rate limiting, that's fine. And we can say we want requests daily, we want 1,000 per day, or let's say 100 per day. This is gonna be a hard limit, okay? So as you can see, we can make it soft limit. So if they go over, we can charge them extra, but this is gonna be a hard limit, okay? So that's our free plan, right? This is the free plan here. And we're going to hit save. And now let's create a paid plan. So this is our pro plan. And we're going to say that this pro plan is, it's going to be $10 monthly subscription. And let's see, we're going to add a new object. We're going to say request. And this is going to be, let's say, 1,000 per month. Or whatever, actually, no, we need more, 100,000 per month. Okay, that sounds about right. And then maybe a 1 cent when you go over, something like this. We're going to hit save. And now we have 2 plans. We have the basic plan and we have the pro plan. You can also add more plans, ultra, mega, and then we can hit preview and we can see how it looks, right? 100 a day, which is not a lot at all, hard limit. And then we have 100,000 a month, 1 cent each. Once we're done, and that's now we have kind of the plans. Now our API is almost ready to go. We have testing, we have transactions. Now before you're done saving this whole thing, you need to go into payment settings and you need to log in with your PayPal account. You need to connect your PayPal account, and that way you're gonna have money deposited into your account whenever people start using your API. Then you simply go into make your API public, you go in here, and that's about it. At this point, your API is live and people can start to use it. They can go out, they can use it. You can also create docs here. You have various documentation. You can have security. You can have new versions of the API. There's so many interesting things that you can do. And then when people go on Rapid API, which is an amazing site that gets a lot of traffic, they can search for your APIs. And if they find your API, they like what they see, it's a good API, it gets them the data that they want, they're going to subscribe to it, they're going to start using it. This is exactly what I'm doing with some of the projects that I'm working on. Now, you may be thinking, okay, where do I get the documents? Where do I get all that stuff? Now, guys, it's very, very easy. You can Google for it, right? Another thing that you can do is you can go and Google US government data sheets, right? You have data catalog, US data and statistics. There's all kinds of data. You can go to data.gov. And you don't need to be a resident or a citizen of the US in order to use this. credit card complaints. You can get all of this interesting data if that's what you want. Data, whatever, like serving the needs. There's so much data here. You can go into topics, agriculture, climate, energy, local government, maritime, ocean, health. You can get all of this. If that's not what you want, you can Google it. There's all kinds of data dumps everywhere. And all you have to do is simply, export it into Google Sheets. You can use a tool such as Retool right here that I was using. Retool utilities in order to create that free API. And then once you create it, you can go to Rapid API in order to make it as part of a market, monetize it, right? Because right now it's open, it's wide open, but you want to monetize it. And that's how you do it, through the Rapid API marketplace. All right, guys, so I really hope you enjoyed this method. It's a little bit different than kind of what we talk about on a day-to-day basis, but this is a very, very powerful method in order to make money with APIs. Let me know if you have any questions below. Give me a like. Make sure you smash a like on this video. Subscribe to the channel if you haven't already, and I will see you in the next video.